You know what this means. How you deal with this is by going off center. You know what this means. It's arts and crafts time. As some of you may know, I do a bike ride with a group every Tuesday and Thursday morning. Good morning, Trainiacs. This is the graveyard. PD bones. Choose from and leave lying around. And that group is like crazy road cyclists, not triathletes, but that doesn't mean that I shouldn't be going out with them, because actually riding in a pack helps you with a lot of things in regards to triathlon. Number one, it really ups the speed like crazy. And mentally, I find that getting into that pain barrier of like crazy kind of feeling helps in triathlon, because you're all of a sudden not afraid of that pain. Secondly, going out with a group, it makes you want to ride a lot more. So because I'm riding a lot more, I'm becoming a stronger cyclist overall. That helps my triathlon bike and my run, because I'm fresher when I get off the bike. And then third, it helps me with my bike handling skills. And the more comfortable you can be on the bike, the more you're gonna wanna get out biking, the more you're gonna be able to handle turns, corners, when people go in front of you and around you during a triathlon, it's not gonna phase you as much. So mentally, you're going to become an all-around better cyclist. Physically, you're gonna be a better cyclist. All that said, it's very important to know how to ride in a pack. And right now, we're gonna use arts and crafts time and some army men to show how you should be drafting in a pack based off of where the wind's coming from and what the group dynamics are doing. Okay, so like I said, this morning we do a group ride. It's about 50K from start to finish, and there's 4 different sprint sections that are like about 3 to 7 minutes, and they are like crazy fast. So you need to be really confident in a pack. Today, what I'm going to show you with the help of our trusty army men is how to use the wind to your advantage and the cyclist around you, because there are guys in our group that are 30 years older than I am, and I'm just as fit as they are, but because they know how to use the dynamics of the group and the wind around them, they're able to go just as fast as I am, be fresher for when the sprint sections come, because they know how to use the slipstream, the drafting, and the wind. So let's start with the easiest setup, and that's with no wind at all, or the wind coming in front of you, which are the same dynamics. In those cases, whether you're going side by side, 2x2, or single file, it doesn't really make a difference. You want to be immediately in behind the person in front of you. And with the wind coming from the head on, or no wind at all of the resistance is going to be coming from the head on. So the people in front are going to be working by far the hardest, and you want to be directly in behind them. And if you're directly in behind them, it could save you as much as 30% of your effort. If you're off to the side a little bit, you're going to catch wind in the face, and you want to be about a wheel length apart from the person in front of you. Any tighter than that, and if the person in front ends up kind of swerving or hitting the brakes quickly, you could run into their tire, causing a crash. Any further behind than that, and you're not going to be getting as much draft as you would being close up. So anywhere from about 2 feet to 3 feet behind the person in front of you is where you want to be. Never, ever overlap wheels like that, because if the person scoots out to the side, they're going to take you out and cause another crash. Next setup. Now let's assume that the wind is coming from one of the sides. If the wind is coming from the side and you're heading that way, the safest place to be, and the place that's going to end up being the least amount of work, is on the non-wind side. So the people that are on the non-wind side are going to be sheltered by the people that are on the wind side. So let's say that you want to save yourself and make things a little bit easier on you, or you're not as strong a cyclist as the rest of the people in the group, but you want to keep up and benefit from their strength. Go on the non-wind side so that they shelter you. Their body is going to be struggling to keep the bike upright, and they're going to be using a lot of energy to keep that bike upright, whereas you are going to be sheltered from the wind on this side. And vice versa, if the wind is coming from there, the people on the non-wind side are going to get the benefit of being sheltered by the riders that are out in the wind. Next setup, a head-on crosswind. So let's say that it's coming to us from this direction. Now this is a much more difficult situation to deal with because even if you're on this side, you're gonna be out in the wind and you're gonna be having almost as tough a time as the person out front. Basically, the only people that are gonna be getting any benefit are the ones out here because they're sheltered in front and on the side. How you deal with this is by going off center. And what you'll find is when you get off center, still going a wheel length in between everyone, that you can see the wind coming across ends up going down the line and everyone gets a benefit from the person in front. So how you find where exactly you should be is you go side to side based off of where the wind is coming from, and then you'll find a spot about a wheel length in behind the person in front of you that's all of a sudden gonna get quiet. When you go side to side and you find that quiet spot, that means that you're in their draft. Now what happens if you're doing this and by the time you go all the way down the line, these last people are going into traffic and there's cars coming in behind them? Well, that's what's called an echelon. So instead of having two people side by side, you have only as many people side by side as you can get until you end up going into traffic. So maybe it's only every 3 people, and then back here, you've got another echelon. So there's always going to be that angle coming off of the wind so that people are getting a break from having to go directly into the wind and you're not pushing everyone into traffic. You break up into as many groups as you need to so that you can keep an echelon with everyone. And how you do an echelon is you find that spot, and then when you drop back, let's say there's a number of people, when you drop back, you don't want to just come off of the back and be gone. You want to come off the back fairly close within each other. So taking maybe a 1 to 2 second pull at the front, and then the person comes past you, and then they come back. And what ends up happening is as you're echeloning through and dropping back, these 2 people on the side are also protecting the wind for these people. So you start coming back and it's like a complete circle as everyone's going through and helping out. Because I like symmetry. Oh, that means I gotta move my car. The first few times that you ride in a group, it's gonna be scary as all hell, but trust me, the more you do it, the more you're gonna love riding in a group and the less you're going to enjoy solo miles as a triathlete by yourself. As I've said a bunch of times on this channel and just like real life in general, training solo as a triathlete is not the best part of being a triathlete. It's long, it's lonely, it's painful. But the more you can surround yourself with a community of like-minded people that are pushing each other and sharing in the suffering and sharing in the process, the more motivated you're gonna be and the more it's gonna become part of your life and not just something that you do outside of life that takes time away from life. It's gonna become your life. And then you're gonna enjoy it a heck of a lot more. And because you're enjoying it more, you're gonna become faster. Now, does riding in a group help you like specifically for that absolute top end pro level fitness as a triathlete? No. To do that, you gotta ride with triathletes, you gotta run like a triathlete, you gotta be coached like a triathlete, you gotta train like a triathlete 24/7, 365. But for the majority of us out there, we just wanna be the best version of ourselves. And in my opinion, the best version of ourselves is somebody that is able to continue the training day in and day out and not have it feel like work. In my opinion, doing that with a group is the way to do it. I gotta go move my car. Leave the bike outside for 5 minutes to climatize to today's temperature. 5 minutes of me time to get my rods and cones up here settled, and then we go. Cycling time, let's go.